Girl, let's get real. Some pads are just diapers with a good PR team, but not the new Kotex BioCare. That's because Kotex BioCare helps defend against odor and irritants. And it's the first and only pad with this pH proactive system that helps optimize the pad's pH. Just think of it as self-care for down there. Check out Kotex.com for more details on the all-new Kotex, completely redesigned to meet your needs. You asked, we heard.
You ever heard the story of Harry? He was a legend around here. Until one afternoon, he left and never came back. Turns out, Harry went and made himself a website using Squarespace. Used Squarespace domains to buy artisanseatcushions.com. And he built a beautiful site with an online store to sell his artisan seat cushions. Now Harry's sitting on a fortune. And if our Harry can do it, anyone can. Build your business at squarespace.com. Use offer code EVERYTHING for 10% off your website or domain.
Hello, welcome back to 3 and 3's Election Coverage 2026. Minnesota in the spotlight today. They have 2 seasons there. Winter and voting, not just a voting day. Vote by mail or in person began June 26th through August 10th. 45 days to get to a mailbox. Election day, if anyone is left to vote, is August 11. Democrats face a contentious primary between Angie Craig and Peggy Flanagan. Their race for the open seat in Minnesota has fallen along familiar lines, and Tuesday will determine whether centrist Representative Angie Craig or the more progressive Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan comes out ahead. Craig, who flipped a swing seat in the 2018 Blue Wave, has led the fundraising race, hauling in $12.8 million through July 22nd, compared with $6.5 million for Flanagan. Craig also had more in her campaign coffers for the primary's final stretch, $3.6 million to her opponent's $1.1 million. The Senate race pits 2 candidates from different wings of the Democratic Party. Establishment versus progressive Flanagan won the endorsement of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party. Centrist Representative Angie Craig has argued that she's the candidate best suited to hold the seat in November, evoking her centrist colleague Representative Haley Stevens' contention in the Michigan primary, where she came up short against the more progressive Abdul El-Sayed. Minnesota has proved a white whale for Republicans in recent decades. While the state has had close elections, Republicans haven't won a statewide race in 2 decades, and they last won a Senate election in 2002, when Norm Coleman flipped the seat of the late DFL Senator Paul Wellstone. National Republicans are hoping to change that this year and landed a high-profile Senate recruit in former sports broadcaster Michelle Tafoya in their quest to put Minnesota on the battleground map. Tafoya must get through a crowded primary that includes former NBA player Royce White, who lost to Klobuchar in 2024, retired Navy SEAL Adam Schwartzy, who has the endorsement of the state GOP, and Navy veteran Tom Weiler. Tafoya has led the Republican field in fundraising, bringing in $5.3 million through July 22nd, with $1.3 million in the bank. Minnesota Secretary of State Steve Simon confident in election security. Mail-in ballot access. The Trump administration is suing at least 30 states, including Minnesota, for their voter data. Trump is also seeking more control over mail-in ballots through executive order, a move Minnesota and other states have sued to stop. Minnesota Secretary of State Steve Simon, a Democrat, said the occurrence of non-citizens or others who are ineligible to vote casting ballots is microscopic. He said the state systems are working. We have a variety of laws and practices before, during, and after elections, which are meant to, and do, prevent, and in the rare cases they happen, find instances of people doing something they're not supposed to do, he said. A recent audit of voter registration data in the state found county officials correctly verified voter identities 99% of the time. But it said they should take steps to better update voter records. I have every reason to believe that for the primary and eventually the upcoming general election, we're going to have an election that's fair and accurate and honest and secure, Simon said. Trump's attempt to restrict mail-in voting is still moving through federal courts. But Simon said judges have so far been critical of the president's move. MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, endorsed by President Donald Trump, continues to lead the field in the Republican primary for governor. But House Speaker Lisa DeMuth appears to be in striking distance. DeMuth has narrowed the gap to 6 points while holding a key advantage among older voters who tend to turn out better at primary elections. GOP-endorsed Kendall Qualls also gained ground but remains a distant third. Notably, Lindell got 40% of the 18 to 34 age demographic support, while DeMuth sits at 14%. However, only about one-third of that demographic says they'll definitely vote in the primary, compared to roughly half of the 65-plus age demographic, where DeMuth got 41% of her support compared to Lindell at 28%. U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, the presumed DFL nominee, sat on a Farm Fest stage alongside Republicans Lisa DeMuth, Mike Lindell, and Kendall Qualls. The series of questions revolved mostly around agriculture issues and concerns of greater Minnesota, but each used every opening possible to stand out. Lindell, who this week stepped down as CEO of MyPillow, put the stakes in more ominous terms. "This is a spiritual battle of evil and good of biblical proportions," he said. All four candidates said they would take a tough tack when responding to fraud in state government programs. Michelle Tafoya continues to widen her lead in the Republican primary for U.S. Senate. Already up 31 points, Tafoya now is up to 48% support overall, 35 points ahead of Royce White. A significant chunk, 24%, remains undecided. But Widede